Good morning. Welcome to church. I'm Jesse Peterson. Thank you so much for being with me. You can get involved by going to live YouTube chat line. And whether you agree or disagree, I want to hear from you. It's no right or wrong. We're fellowshipping. So whatever's on your mind, I want to hear about it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How y'all? Good. Oh, good. So my first question. Don't say what it is if you know. Do not say. How many of you did the assignment from last Sunday until today? You did the assignment. Wow. She said, what assignment? She's like, what assignment? So you don't remember, you didn't do the assignment.
I guess I didn't because I don't remember.
I told you some people are going to forget it. You did not do the week.
From last week?
Yeah, from Sunday until today. And remember I said you could go back to your old ways after today, after the meeting.
Oh, I know, because I've been already doing it. Whatever it was.
So you don't remember what it was. Okay. Did you do it?
I wasn't here.
Oh, you weren't here. Did you do it, Rachel?
Well, I've been doing it, but I can't remember what it was.
So how you know you've been doing it then?
Because we talked about it, me and you, about
But you don't remember what?
letting things go.
No.
No?
That wasn't the assignment what you and I talked about.
Well, I was thinking about what it was. I know it, but it doesn't want to come out.
I know it, but it doesn't want to come out. Amazing. Dallon, were you here last Sunday?
Yeah, and I did it.
What was the assignment?
I did it very successfully. It was a challenge, but I got it.
And what was it?
You know, I'm just that on my game that I don't remember the specifics.
This is too funny. Did you do it, Raymond?
I did.
What was the assignment?
Finding faith, or rather, I just say, building your faith.
I don't know what you're talking about. Kind of know what you're talking about, but not all the way. Did you do it first?
Yeah.
You did it. Wait a minute. Hold on. Don't tell me what it was, but you did it.
Yes, I did.
And what was it?
It was not, how can I say, it was not get involved with your thoughts. Like if something happened, not to get emotional about it or don't have an opinion about it. It was
Almost
something like
there.
that.
Something like that, right?
Yeah, but I did do it.
You did do it?
Yeah, because a lot of things happened this week. It's at work. Like, I'll just say something happened where the parents were very emotional, and I was just sitting back observing it.
Right on.
So,
Well, you did half of it for sure.
yeah,
Well, it sounded like you might have done it the whole thing.
I think I did.
Yeah, it sounded like. And so, ever since we did that talk about being on time, and people who are not on time are dirty people, you've been on time?
Yes.
For work and church and everything?
Yes, for
Good.
everything.
It feels good to be on time.
Yeah, it
huh?
does.
Yeah. Francisco, you've been on time too, right?
Yes, since I was born on time.
No, he just lied in church. You were born late.
I was born early.
But you've been on time?
Yes.
Okay. One last person. So you did it, right?
Yes.
And the assignment. And what was it?
To have faith in God, and no matter what happened during the week, good or bad, don't have an opinion on it. And, so throughout the day I was saying, I have faith in God, and I have faith in God. And it was great.
You reminded yourself.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not only
Whatever it
that,
takes.
as I was doing it, I found that I probably didn't have it. I was saying, oh yeah, I have faith in God, but as I was doing it, I was getting stronger, and I was paying attention to the awareness of God's power.
Yeah.
And I noticed that I was being built up in
Yes.
faith.
Oh,
Yes,
good.
sir. Yeah.
And so the three of them were right. Raymond was almost there with it. What I said is, I want you to build true faith. There are two types of faith. One is faith come by hearing of the word. So when someone talk about God or mention the scriptures, that builds a faith, but that's not true faith. It's a faith, though, but it's not true faith. And if you stay with that, eventually you will be born into true faith. And that's total faith in God. And the way you do that is you have to be willing to take on every challenge that your enemy throw at you, no matter what it is. Whatever your enemies throw at you, you have to be willing to take it and endure the challenges that your enemies throws on you, and endure every thought, the different various of thoughts that you get. You have to be willing to do that. Then you can be born into true faith. Most people don't have true faith, and you can tell because they overreact to situations. They have the faith that come by hearing about God, but that's not the faith that calls you to live with him, become his son or daughter. And you're right, you don't overreact to anything. You have no opinion about it. You don't call it evil or good. You just have no thoughts about it. You just watch it, and it'll blow your mind. That felt good not to give in, right? Yeah. What was it like for you? Because normally those mean parents is a lot to handle.
Well, in the beginning, I was really nervous and I was like upset. And then I remember what you said, and I just like went in the bathroom. I sat there for like 3 minutes meditating, and then I came back out and I was just sitting back listening to all the parents complaining.
Yes.
And I was just sitting there, and then the director's like, Marilyn, how come you're not getting upset? I said,
That's right.
I was like, I don't know.
Good. And what it is, we have true faith. People be saying things about you, treating you awfully and all that, and you're just looking at them and their mouth moving. It's like looking at a movie. Mm-hmm. It's not you. It's not affecting you at all. Beautiful. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Hold on for the mic.
I have a question.
Okay.
So it's not enough to just pray for something and then kick back and expect it to happen, right? God wants you to go out there and take action for the things that you ask him for, right? So what if you're upset because you feel like you might not have done the right actions to get what you're working for or what you want? And
very good question.
You're reacting because, oh man, I might have messed up and, I didn't do my part.
Oh, okay. God, how many of you were raised by your father? You were raised and you were close to your father. So what was it like being close to your father growing up?
Between you and me, he didn't really teach me some things I wish he'd had, but he's a very nice guy.
Okay. What was it like for you being raised by your father?
Thanks. At the beginning, Dad was very much a screamer and a yeller, but later in life, his perspective on things was always one of those things I could count on.
Was this after you became an adult or before?
I remember it as after I became an adult. But yeah,
you remember
him becoming more, having more perspective, more.
But while you were growing up, he was screaming and yelling.
Yeah, he was pretty much that kind of guy.
And then once you became an adult, he was older, so he kind of cooled out a little bit.
Don't know all the reasons. Maybe just because he was older. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Maybe he figured it out.
Right.
But so that was an interesting transition. But later in life, I could always count on his sort of rational approach. He'd see something and like, don't get too excited about it. Here's what's really going on.
Yeah.
He was that kind of guy. He always was that guy, but when he was younger, he was much more ambitious, much more.
So were you close to him?
Yes.
You were close to your father?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
More so as the years went on.
Meaning that during the growing up period, or once you became an adult?
Later on as an adult.
As an adult, but not growing up.
No, there were times when I feared him. I wouldn't ask him for advice simply because I expected a blow up of some kind.
You feared your father?
Yeah.
Okay. Brenda, were you raised by, you look different with your new hairdo. Like a Southern girl. Scarlett O'Hara.
I'm experimenting.
Were you raised with your father?
Yes, he was there. He just wasn't. When you say raised by, he was more passive, and my mother was kind of the one that was always telling me what I was supposed to be doing.
Right.
But my father was my true north. He was the person who was more spiritual and more admirable.
Oh, okay. Well, and the reason I'm asking this is because I realized over the weekend the reason that it's difficult for most people to have the right relationship with God is because they did not have the right relationship with their earthly father. And so they unconsciously see God in the way that they see their earthly father. And what's going to happen once you develop that true faith in God, you don't have to be asking for everything. He'll naturally give it to you because he already knows your needs. He knows everything about you. And once you become, to answer your question, Darlene, once you become his son, you just live and he guides you and you know that he's with you and you know that he is your father. God is our father. And you don't have to go around begging and whining and hustling trying to get him to do something. But the reason you're doing it because you haven't experienced that relationship with your earthly father like that. A father is different than a mother in that a father just kind of watch over you. He doesn't impose on you. He doesn't try to, as soon as you pop out of mama's womb, he doesn't take you to church. You know, he doesn't start teaching you the Bible. He watches over you and allow you to grow up. And when you have questions and things, you go to him and ask or have a conversation. He's just there, but not involved in that way in your life. Well, that's how it is with God. That's why we have to return to the Father so that he would watch over us and he would take care of us. So it's not about what you do, even though we're supposed to be doers of the word, meaning that we allow his love to work through us. If there are battles we need to fight, we fight it with courage. But that's about it. You know, you pray with him, pray to him, so in that you're aware of him at all times. But he's our Father. He's not this God person that you spend the rest of your life trying to reach and satisfy, and it's like a big guy in the sky somewhere. He's with us, he's inside of us, and he loves us. And once you are born again of him, meaning know that true, have that true faith, you know he's with you. It's no gray area. Your Father's with you. But because you have not had that with your earthly father, you have no idea. You're treating God the way that you treated your earthly father, always wanting him and always trying to do things to please him. And he doesn't need all that from you. He loves you already. And then when you make mistakes in life, whatever it might be, the first thing you do is go into guilt. Oh, I feel out of sin. I had such a hard time. He doesn't need all that from you. He just wants you to see you're stupid and move on. He's not going to think about it, and he doesn't need you thinking about it. He needs you to recognize you did something quote-unquote wrong, but don't dwell on it. Don't get into it. And he's so easy, and he's just your father. That makes sense? Yeah. Yes, Brenda.
So that's interesting that you would say that, because I've heard you say before that God knows what you need and you don't have to ask him.
Yes.
But if you look at my parents, my mom and my dad would never notice that I needed new shoes, that my shoes were too small. My mother would be the one that would notice and say, oh, we've got to go get you some new shoes.
Right.
So Dad was oblivious. He didn't know what I needed. He wasn't paying attention, and he wasn't, I used to call it tuned in. He wasn't there.
Right. But that's why he had the vice president there to cook and clean and make sure you had shoes on your feet. But he gave her the money to get the shoes with. That's her job, to watch over the kids for him while he's out earning a living. He doesn't need to, a father doesn't need to be there. You know what I mean? He doesn't need to see if you need shoes, or he doesn't need to be at all your football games and basketball games and at just ballet dances and all that crap. Huh? Yeah, he does. Yeah, it's the mother's job to do that, right? But she loved the father. If she loved the father in the right way, you would feel his presence through her passed on to you. But most mothers don't love their husbands. They don't love their fathers. So you get all this anger and this messed up stuff, and you think that's how your father is because that's how mama is acting, and it's not that way at all. I've noticed that most, not all, but most mothers have taught their children about God and about religion and got them into the Bible, and everybody messed up. Whereas the father's not all into that because he knows what's right. He loves what's right. Unless he's been traumatized by his mother too. But so your mother was supposed to look out for your shoes. My grandfather never said, boy, you need to get some shoes. My grandmother did that, you know. And so that's why when you have a family, you should have a president, which is the father, and the vice president, which is the mother, and the mother is the overseer of the household. The father is the provider of love, of financial things, and that way it's easy to raise the family in the right way. That makes sense? Yes, right.
One time my father saw that I needed shoes. I was in about the 5th grade, and he got me some big giant construction boots, and I was so embarrassed because I wanted the nice tennis shoes.
No wonder you wear those shoes now.
He got me big man boots.
You were traumatized. Yeah. You better be glad your daddy didn't get you some shoes. Oh, that is funny. But I remember, my father wasn't there either, but I had a longing for my father growing up. I knew that void, that emptiness I had was for my father. It wasn't for a car, it wasn't for a woman, it wasn't for drugs, it wasn't for anything. I knew as a kid I wanted my father, that emptiness, that deep, deep emptiness I had. And I would ask about him and stuff. But when I grew up and got to know him and find out what happened, my father and I became one. And at the time, I didn't know going through him was going to allow me to return to God. But it wasn't until my father and I became father and son that I was able to go through him to get back to God. And now I see God as my father. I don't see him as God. Even though he is God, it's just a name for him, but he is your father. Our Father, which art in heaven. It doesn't say our God, which art in heaven. And in heaven, the kingdom of heaven is on the inside of us and above, but it's inside of us. And most people don't even know that. Most people do not know the kingdom of heaven is within. And the reason they didn't know because mama didn't tell them. And the preacher don't tell you. The preacher will read about it, they'll gloss over it, but they don't know how to tell you to get there. And salvation is about returning to the Father. And it's not, once you return to the Father, you can now live. And you know he's with you. It's so weird. Yes, James.
This girl says, Audrey says, I started doing the silent prayer and it's helped me a lot so far.
Yes.
I have a question. Is it okay to forgive someone but then cut them out of your life or avoid them if they're still a negative impact in your life?
Yes. As long as you don't resent them. Because it's not good to hang around the spirit of Satan. Because anyone who has anger has evil. And it's not good to hang around that spirit. You go there, you tell them the truth, and then you run. Otherwise, they'll wear you down and destroy you. So yeah, get away, but make sure you don't resent at all. Have compassion for them. All right? Yes, sir.
Another girl, Sarah, says, I have that relationship with my earthly father, but still want a husband and family.
And that's natural for a woman to want especially if you love her father. It's natural for a woman to want a husband. And if you love your father with all your heart, soul, and your earthly father, then that kind of man will be given unto you. Don't go looking for it. I think one of the greatest mistakes that Satan has played on men and women today, he got them looking for one another. Women are looking for men, men are looking for women. To the point they even go online and find one another. You know you're weak when you got to get a date from the internet.
People do that. It's pretty common.
I know, but weak people.
No, it's just really efficient.
So
it's
what?
just really it's really efficient, meet so many people.
No, but everybody you meet on the internet is the wrong person.
Well, internet is just people. You meet them in real life, they could be, it doesn't matter you met them on the internet. People are people.
The internet is like going on the internet looking for a house. And most of the time, not all the time, the people on the internet not the real deal anyway. They're all pretending. But the way that your Father, your Creator, want you to do it, He just want you to live your daily life, doing what's in front of you to do, and He'll add unto you. He'll add your wife, He'll add your husband, He'll add your children, and when He gives you a wife, it'll be the right one. But if you're out there looking for one in your fallen state because you don't have faith in God, you're going to always get the wrong one. Always. Even if you're not on the internet, but you're at the club, or you're at church, or you're somewhere looking for a woman, or a man looking for a woman looking for a man, because you don't have no business looking for that. It says that God doesn't know, your Father doesn't know what you want, so He left you out there to find your own stuff. And then the devil, your father, the devil, will have these people dressed up to look like that's what you want. They'll look like, and you're like, oh, this is it. And whether you're a man or a woman, you think, wow, thank you, God. And then you hook up with the person, you're like, oh, God, I was wrong, or you hate me. But when I was growing up, we didn't have internet. We met people, and we got to know them. And then we see if that's what we want. You don't need to be, the only thing we should hunger and thirst after is righteousness. That's all. Everything else would be added. And now we got human beings looking for human beings on the line. Don't you have to pay to go online to get a date? Yes. Because it's not free, right? You have to pay.
When you want to talk to them, they charge you $10. You can pay for the premium membership, which I do.
You have to pay under what?
I pay for the premium membership, but you don't have to do that. But I do.
Wow, the premium, that's like riding on the airplane. And you pay the premium, or you just pay as you go?
I'm old. I'm kind of old school like you. I meet people in person, and you have to meet a woman and catch her quirks, meet her parents.
So you don't go online today?
No.
Well, how you know it costs $10?
Because everyone knows. It's just common knowledge now for the internet age. So the hook they do is they put you out there. They give you like credits or tokens. Like you could contact one or two people, but then like, oh, you want to send them a message? You got to pay $20. So I always advise people against it. I'm like, dude, you don't even know if that's really a girl. It could be some guy trolling.
Especially nowadays.
Dude, Tinder is totally free.
No, Tinder is free. Amazing. Yes, sir.
Yes, I met my wife on a Christian dating site.
Oh, God.
We met and...
on a Christian dating site.
And now we're married and happily married, and there are good people out there that just don't have the time to get out and meet people at various places. We actually...
That doesn't make sense to me.
We actually talked...
You got time to eat?
On the phone and emailed and got to know each other for a while, and then we finally met and we connected as much as we thought we would, and now we're married. So it does work, and there is hope for people out there that don't want to go to a club or don't have or don't meet people in church.
But you shouldn't be going to club or church looking for a woman or man.
Or various other places. Online is a very popular tool now to meet somebody, and you can kind of add your criteria for the type of people you're looking for, and hopefully you're not in a catfish situation where they're not who they say they are. But, in our case, it worked.
And so how long have you been married?
It's going to be a year next month.
And you say you're happily married?
We are.
And it hasn't been a year yet?
It'll be a year in July.
And define happily married. What do you mean by that?
Well, we love each other more every day, and we don't fight, and we pretty much agree on all the basic things and what our future, what we want that to be, and we both go to church and love God, so we have that Lord. In our marriage, and we're going to pass it on. And when you say love each other more each day, what do you mean by that? Well, you just get to appreciate the person more every day. When you wake up, you're just so happy that they're in your life, and I think Christ only strengthens that. So
that sounds so nice, huh?
Well, I'm just saying that that you're not doing the devil's work if you're online.
I can't believe the liberals backing me up.
Let me just... I want to respond to that in a minute, but Rachel want to respond. Yes, Rachel.
think that the people that go on the line looking for a date, they're pretty desperate.
It is.
Because you meet people all the time out
Yeah.
in the street and all over, and you have a better chance of meeting the right person, instead of going looking for him.
That's right. It'll happen naturally. It really will. There's a whole lot of folks walking the streets. Homeless people. Brenda, what do you think about what Jamie said? Did you meet Ed online?
Yes.
Oh my God. I didn't know that.
I don't tell anybody.
Had I known that at the wedding, I would have said, this is an online.
No, you wouldn't.
Wedding.
You never would have said that. You wouldn't have been there.
Oh, God.
I'd have walked you out before you got out of your mouth.
That's amazing. So what do you think about what he said in online dating and all that?
I think that what he said is generally, I think what he said is true. I think that there are a lot of people that are desperate and unfortunately, there are a lot of people misrepresenting themselves. But I do think that it's hard, the way we live our lives, to, I totally believe what you're saying, that if you allow God to put somebody in your life, He will.
Yeah.
But I think we become impatient
Yes.
and think that it's just not happening in our
Yes.
time frame.
That's right.
But it was interesting because I remember that I had decided that online was crap and I wasn't going to do it anymore. And Ed popped up on
Ed,
kind of out of nowhere.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I've known Ed 20-something years. He doesn't look like he would go online.
I know.
Wow.
And you wouldn't think he thought he needed to. And
Right.
you wouldn't think I thought I needed to.
Right.
So it's kind of like a fluke, but it happened.
Yes.
But you're right. It is pretty wacky. There's a lot of weirdness out there.
Put your head down, boy. I see it. It's all in my way. Ed, what made you go online?
What do you
Lord
think?
have mercy.
What do you think
It's
made me
like
go
I
on?
just found out that my best friend stole some money. You never did tell me that. What made you go online?
What made me?
A tall,
the
handsome white
the
man
usual thing.
with a
What does
job
I was going shopping, man. I mean,
for a woman.
For women. I mean, no, you're out there, hey, I want to meet somebody. And it was part of the thing. It was just something I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know the reason that, one thing that Jamie said is that he and his wife of almost a year now, that they're starting to, his love is growing more and more every day. Am I saying that right?
You are.
Yeah. And another thing I just realized, the reason that you go online looking for a date, you ever done it, Amar? I'm going to ask you 3 times. One more. No, he's saying no, folks. He's shaking his head. It's because that void that they have has not been fulfilled by returning to the Father. And in that emptiness, your father, the devil, tells you what you need and what you want. Oh, you need a woman, or you need a man, or you need this, or you need that. So you go on the search looking for it, not believing that the Father's going to give it to you because you have not returned to Him. That's why they do it. They're trying to fulfill that void with something else, and it doesn't work. It does not work, because even if you got a mate, husband or wife online, that void is still going to be there. But if you didn't have that emptiness, then you could wait on the Father to add, because you know that He's going to add it if that's what He desires for you, right? And so you have the know-how to just live your life, and whatever He's going to add, He adds it as you move through life and as you need it. And when He gives it to you, it's everlasting, it works. But that void got people looking online and everything else, and then they excuse why they're looking online. That's what it is. Let me take Jamie first, and then I'll come back. Yes.
Yeah, for the record, I've met plenty of the wrong people in real life, not online,
Yes,
up
you can do
until
that.
when I met my wife. So you don't need to attest to that, but so I had looked in my day-to-day life and had been in a lot of relationships up until now, and then this was the only one that we were perfect for each other. All the other ones went south at some point, and it was probably good for them as it was for me that happened, because it wasn't right. So
Right.
This was a time where it actually worked, where it didn't work in real life, and I didn't know how much longer I was supposed to wait.
Okay.
Not a spring chicken.
One thing I want to say about your love growing is that love don't grow. Love is. It does not grow. Like the sunshine doesn't grow. The sun, it is. And so when you return to the Father, love is. And so when you meet someone in that fallen state, it feels like when you come together, it feels like the love is growing. Everybody all excited. Oh, this is the right one. And then after a while, it started going downhill. Well, I'm happy he's happy, but it's the wrong love that if you think it's growing, it's not the love that's everlasting. Now, you may grow into that, once you go through hell with her, and you will, but maybe you'll be strong enough to get the real love. You know what I'm saying? Because you need that fallen state love anyway to come together as a man and woman. You need that. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be attracted to her because you don't have a need. The void is fulfilled. You've been made whole. But in that fallen state, that's how men and women come together. Because it's a false illusion, but it's so that you can make babies. And so once you have all your babies, then you stop having sex and overcome that and become the man and the woman of God. Let me take Brenda then here. And James, you have somebody? Yeah, let me know too, but let me take Brenda right now.
I was just going to add to what you said about if you're patient, God will bring you what you need.
Yes.
Because an interesting thing that happened was part of the reason we were both online was that we were very busy in our jobs, which takes a lot of time, and I was traveling a lot at that time, and so it was hard to be in one place long enough to meet somebody. So we met, and then within a month, I had a change in job that created the need for me to move to a different city.
Right.
And it created a huge challenge with our relationship because God already had a plan for me, and I interjected something into it that created a big problem. And then we had to work through that problem. And so it wasn't a smooth thing at all. It was kind of a mess for a while. But
because you went out there on your own, influenced by your father, the devil, and you jumped ahead of the plan that the Father has for you.
Right.
That's such a perfect truth. And then whenever you jump ahead of him and going along with your father, the devil, you always mess up. It's not right, it's the wrong time, and everything. Who did I say I was coming to? Was it you? Yeah. That is so powerful, Brenda. A perfect example of that.
Why is it that the very thing men and women are driven to come together for, making children, is the very thing that ends up driving them apart by destroying their intimacy and just creating,
Because they're doing it it's all ego, and they're doing it out of a false sense of love, and it doesn't last.
It seems like it does that unless you really work hard to not let it do that. If a married couple really works hard, they can keep their relationship alive after a baby, but usually if they don't do anything, it just pushes them apart, ruins their love life. But that's the very thing they got together for,
Yeah, but they did it in a blind way. They got together for ego reasons, and ego doesn't last. It's not a solid foundation. Now, you do have men and women who are stronger than others, and they're willing to ride through it and get over that stuff and grow in it. And then you have weak people that can't handle anything. That's what's going on. Yes, James. This is so good. This is good. And Jamie, we want to talk to you a year and a half from now. Yeah.
Sarah asks, so just be then?
Just be? Yes. You want to become a living being. Just be, and let all things be added. But if you live in the darkness of your imagination, you can't just be. You can't even develop true faith because you have Satan, and his little demons always interfering to try to make you doubt, to try to make you make the wrong decisions. But if you come to realize that that is the voice of Satan and not the voice of God, you start to develop true faith, then you can just be knowing that your Father will take care of you. Some people are not supposed to be married. But in that loneliness that you have, you're out there hustling up a mate. And it'll be the wrong one rather than returning to the Father. Everybody's not created to have a husband and wife. Some of us are just created to do work for Him. You know? And so when you're out there on your own trying to make it happen, like Brenda said, you jumping ahead and creating a problem and don't realize it. That's why you have to be still and know God so He can guide you. And He really will. It's so amazing. But you got to develop true faith. Yes, Raymond.
You know, not too long ago, my mom said I'm selfish because I never took a wife. But I keep asking myself, which is more selfish, not taking a wife or take one where you're not willing to be a husband?
Yeah, don't listen to your mama. You should have, she tried to, what did she try to do to his spirit?
Bind it.
She tried to bind your spirit. Whatever Esteban doesn't like what we say, he like, you just trying to bind my spirit. No, don't listen to that.
Yes, one other thing. I always thought a dating service is totally unnatural and antiseptic. If a man and woman choose to be together, it should be done one-on-one, nothing more or less.
That's right. It'll happen. I thought Brenda made the point really well, so I really want you guys to pay attention to that because that's exactly what happens. Yes, James. Did you have your hand? Uh-huh.
Do you think it's unnatural for a married man and woman not to have kids?
I mean, I don't know the purpose of being married if you don't want kids. Unless you're just so sexual and you don't want to burn. You know, like Paul said, I prefer you not get married, something like that. But if you got to burn, then you should get married. So if you just want to get married just to have sex, then you should, if you can't control yourself. Otherwise, if you're not going to have children, there's no need for marriage. And I hear people saying now, well, you could be lonely. You need someone to comfort you, right? You should never look for an outside source to comfort you. God is your comforter. The Holy Spirit is your comforter. Because if you get a person, place, a thing to do it, it's not going to last. And that's the wrong reason to get married. Just to have someone to keep you company or make you feel good at night in bed and all that crap. It's only a temporary thing. And a whole lot of people do it. But no, if you don't want children, there's no reason to get married. It's really not. Just think about it. What you going to get married for?
Is it wrong to get married and not have kids?
It's not wrong. No, it's not like wrong nor right. But most of the time when people do it, it's because they are lonely, they need somebody to love, and they need somebody to love them and love somebody, and they need love. They need companionship. So that's why they do it, but you end up just staying in your hellhole because now you have a person to take the place of the Holy Spirit. But it's not wrong. You just don't get over your suffering. Yeah. Let me take this young lady. This is so good. You guys over here, y'all don't have any questions or comments? Okay, yes.
I remember when I stopped drinking.
So what?
When I stopped drinking.
What was your favorite drink?
Everything. Everything, yeah. And
so you just got drunk off anything?
Yes, whatever I could
I
find.
can see Rachel out there, young, pretty, young teenager girl, drunk.
Yeah.
Just partying up.
Well, I didn't really get bad till I was about 38, then I started falling apart.
Wow.
And I only attracted bad men in my life.
Yeah.
And so when I got sober, I thought that I deserved a good man in my life.
Right.
And I prayed for it, and it never happened.
Yes.
And I went like that for years, and then finally I surrendered and told God, whatever your will is. And you know what, Jesse, I find a lot of peace being alone.
That's right.
If you wanted me to have someone, I would have had someone already.
That's right.
And I think that some people just have too many, and you have to do without. No.
When I was in my 18, 19, 20, all the way up until I changed, I thought that I could not live without a woman. I didn't know that was possible. I thought I had to have one. And because I had that emptiness, even though I knew it for my father, whenever you had a woman, it feels good for a while. It doesn't last, but it feels good for a while. But I didn't know. And then I wanted to get married and have 10 children and all that kind of good stuff. And none of that happened. And even though I got engaged a couple of times, none of that happened. And to be able to be whole and to not even want that or need that is so nice. Because that emptiness has been fulfilled, and so now I don't want anything. I don't want it. I'm not like hungry for it and all that kind of crazy stuff. Yes, that's right. Did you drink wine too?
Everything.
Everything. I can see you at the bar. The bartender, what do you want, lady?
And all night long,
whatever
too.
you got over there. Yes, I saw another hand. Yes.
So, based on what you just said, I'm curious. What if two adults are older and past childbearing stage age? Are you saying they shouldn't get married?
What's older?
Let's say they're in their 50s.
Okay. I never understood why 50-year-old people got married.
I was just curious.
Yeah. I guess if you're 50, you know, and you want to get married just to have somebody there, again, there's nothing wrong with it. But you need to be conscious of why you're doing it, because at 50, if you get married, most of the time you feel lonely or alone, and you feel like you need somebody. If you can get married, still realize this person is not going to fulfill that need, because the real need is to return to the Father.
Right.
And nobody and no thing can feel that. So if you're 50 and you want to get married, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm good. Doesn't pertain to me. I was just curious.
Oh, you're already married.
I'm already married.
And are you 50?
Oh, I'm way past that, Justin.
How old are you?
58.
Wow. You look good for your age.
Thank you.
Black don't crack. You're 50?
58.
So that must make Marcus, what, 60-something?
No, I'm older than he is.
You married a younger girl?
We were he was in high school. I was a year ahead of him. So it's like, he's what, 57? Yeah, he's 57.
So he's 1 year older than you?
He's 1 year
I mean,
younger
1 year
than I
younger
am.
than you? No wonder.
No wonder what.
No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, yes, ma'am. So yeah, if you're 50, go ahead. What harm can it do? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
In the scriptures, I believe God said that, you know, he looked among the animals that he had made and everything, and also he had made Adam. And then he
So
said,
what
but
now?
in the scriptures, I think God said that he looked among the animals and also he had made Adam, and he said, but there was no suitable mate for him. So he made Eve. So, and also it said that it is not good that man should be alone. So I take it he meant women as well. But, you know, so I think at any, age that, people want to be together, I think it's a wonderful compliment, for them to be together, because if you're not married, like, you're going to be hanging around with your girlfriends all the time. It's like, wait a minute, where's my husband? That type of thing. So,
I mean, if you want to be married, you should get married. But let it happen naturally, even if you want it. But God has plans for people, men and women, that you can't be married. He doesn't want you married because he needs you for something else. And he'll fulfill you so you'll be fine and move on. Everybody wasn't meant for marriage. Mm-hmm. That's why it's best to wait and see and let it happen naturally, so you don't jump ahead of the plan in your life. And If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And if you notice, marriages don't work anyway, for the most part. And the reason they're not working because people are coming together for the wrong reason. Make me feel good, love me and I'll love you. If you don't love me, I'm not going to love you back, or whatever. It's all for the wrong reason, which is okay in that fallen state. But the problem is most people don't work through that.
Okay.
It's not for everybody.
All right. Well, I can say that the times that I've been in a relationship, which, none of them have worked, when things were going good, the difference is striking from being single and then actually being in a relationship. And then I remember thinking, I said, oh, I'm so happy I'm not in the dating game right now. And I would look at my single friends, and they actually looked different than me because I was living, well, no, not really. Like I was actually living a life, with a mate that I was with that I was happy with at the time. But then when things started going bad and everything, I was back out with my girlfriends. And so it's like, but there is a striking difference between someone like who is, I guess, single and maybe would like to be in the dating game or whatever, or, or have a mate, and then someone who does have a mate and they're, happy at the time. There's a big difference, because I've been on both sides and I've been able to see.
But there are no happy mates.
Okay.
I'm serious.
All right.
Somebody has caved. There are no happy mates. I know some of you said that, you said that when things were good, you're happy, right? And then things change, right? And that's when you get away from it. But those happy days are not happy days. Okay. The happy days is when the rough times come and you're able to work through them and still love one another. Those are the happy days. When you're just jumping around, loving her, she loving you, and you carrying on, that's nothing. You're not growing. There are no challenges. And those times going to fade away because it's fake. And then the rubber meet the road, that's where most people fail. Because they don't love each other with real love, and they just bail out. Or they become very violent or whatever with one another. And so because they don't have that real love. But that's how you develop true peace and true happiness and true love if you're willing to get married and go through the rough times.
And what you said is so important. It's very good to have that teaching,
Yeah.
Because, what you said is just very important, and I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, because a lot of people think that, like Jamie's up here and bragging about he and his little wife. We've been together almost a year, and we are happy. I talked to Jamie in a year or so.
Well, when things started going bad in my relationship, I did bail. Yeah, I did bail, so you're right. Right.
Everybody remember Jamie said this, right? Because a year and a half, 2 years, he's going to be telling me he didn't say it. Well, I didn't say we were happy. I didn't say the love was growing. Yeah. Yes, James. Man.
Okay. Man. All right, Darren is asking, would there be any reason to get married if you're already fulfilled and born again? Would God still bring those people together for marriage?
I don't know. But I do know if you're truly born again, you return to the Father, you've been made whole, you're not walking around thinking about getting married. You're not walking around thinking about what you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, where you're going to sleep. Now, God can do whatever you want. Maybe he still want you to get married. That might happen. And if he does, it's going to be perfect. It'll work out very well. So I don't know. But you wouldn't have that need for a wife. Unless you just needed somebody to clean your house or something. Cooking. I have a friend, speaking of cooking, I have a friend who was dating this woman, and he gonna be all cute and really get with her, right? All in love. And one day they were having this conversation, and she said she doesn't want to cook and clean. She doesn't want to do all that. He's like, oh my God, well, you got to go. I'm like, right on. It's good he found that out before marriage, because a lot of women today don't want to do those things. Why you get married to a woman that don't want to cook and clean? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make, isn't that right, Brenda? Why would anybody want to marry a woman that don't want to cook and clean?
Why would any woman want to marry an untidy man?
Well, that's what men do. That's right. Yes, but am I right about that? He said no.
No.
What a weak man.
No, I was talking about something.
Oh.
That's a difficult question. I don't think women love to cook and clean. I like to cook, but I don't like to clean. But I
What?
do it. I have a sense of need for tidiness around me, and so I'm willing to do it. But I think the way that you're phrasing it is making me it's making it hard for me to agree with you, because I don't think a woman's just around to cook and clean.
No, to have babies, to wash. To raise good, decent, adult children to adult. It's a good job to have.
Well, I think you need to expand what you say then, because when you just say, why would you have a woman around who doesn't want to cook and clean, that didn't include raising children. And then there's the whole issue of if your first marriage doesn't work out.
Your first marriage?
Right. Then are you allowed to have another one, and are you allowed to seek happiness later in life? Because, as you said, most relationships don't last. At some point, they fall apart. So are we all destined to be single for the rest of our life?
Not if you're willing to wait upon your father and allow him to add it unto you.
Right.
The problem is most people don't want to wait.
Right.
They don't want to wait, and that's where the problem comes in. So if you get married and then you divorce, and if you haven't cheated or your husband hasn't cheated on you, you can't get married. You're never married again. Because even if you go and marry someone else, you're not really married. Now, in your mind, you would say that you are, but you're not. If your husband dies or if you find out Ed cheated, let me know, then you can leave him and get married. But if that doesn't happen and you guys should divorce, you just have to stay single the rest of your life. And then return to the Father, be fulfilled by Him, and you'll be satisfied the rest of your life. But what's wrong with a man saying that what's the purpose of getting married with a woman that's not going to cook and clean? Because men don't cook and clean. They don't, unless they've been in the military, they've been trained to do it. It's not natural for a man to cook and clean and wash and iron. And I noticed that I have a home for young men. The guys, when they go wash, they put the colored clothes in with the white clothes, and they just wash everything together, and then they throw everything in the dryer, and then take it out to dry and wear it. Where if they had a wife, it would be done properly, right? Wife separated from the color, you iron the clothes before wearing them, and because it's not in their nature to do that.
That totally.
And there's nothing wrong with that. A woman, that's what God has given her to do, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not a put down. The man doesn't see his wife less than he is. It's working together for the good, for the glory of God.
A lot of men might not like the job.
Hold on 1 minute. You're not on the mic. Hold on. Yes.
I was just going to say that totally depends on how that girl was trained and brought up.
That's what the problem is.
There are a lot of women now who are not being taught to wash
That's
clothes
right.
or cook, and they're as helpless as the men are
I know.
at knowing what to do with laundry. So it's not necessarily. I don't disagree with you. I think that God created a plan in which there was a division of work, and they got things done, and,
Yes.
and you can create a unity there that actually has some balance to it, and
Yes.
each person plays their role. But unfortunately, people aren't adhering to that anymore, and so we have these young women who have no clue how to cook either, and don't know how to clean, and they don't know how to do their laundry either, and so it's not about whether they're a man or woman, it's whether they were taught the role that they should do.
And normally it's the mothers who are teaching their daughters how to do those things.
Right.
Because the mother doesn't see it as a negative and as a put down and that you're less than the man and all that crap, right? Mm-hmm. And so mothers are not teaching their daughters to do that anymore. And so they're growing up without, and then they go out into the world, and the schools teach them, the educational system teach them, you're no different than a man, you're the same as a man, act like a man. And then these women are not, men, do not marry a woman that cannot cook or clean, or don't like it. Don't do it.
Well, I actually raised my boys to be able to cook and clean, and they can do
That's right.
both, and they can do their own laundry, and so then they were not looking for a woman who could do that for them. They looked for a woman that they could
Well, you don't
love.
go out looking. Now, you're not trying to find a wife that can cook. But while you're dating, you find out if she can cook and clean. Because if she can't, then you know this is not the right one. You know, because she's not going to be good at raising a family. If she can't cook and clean and take care of the household, she's not going to want to take care of kids. Even if you let her stay home, when you come home from work, she'll be like this. You don't watch over the kids. I'm here with them all day long. You know, it'll just be a mess. Don't do it, man. Do not do it.
So Jesse, just one little thing. Brenda was the only woman I dated that actually cooked a meal for me.
See there?
And I only realized that years later. I go,
yeah.
It's really
Brenda
kind of
is
funny.
a Southern girl. I'm not surprised.
It's a wonderful
because
thing.
they had that type of hospitality, that type of family stuff. And she's right. In those days, the mother would teach the boys and the girls how to do it. The mother would say to the son, just in case you don't get a wife, you need to know how to cook yourself and take care of yourself. So they did teach that. But once you become an adult, because I used to know how to do a little cooking and stuff like grits. You know how to make grits? Yeah. But I haven't cooked in so long, just to think about it, make me sick. You gotta cook, you gotta go to the store and buy this stuff, then you gotta chop it up and put it all together, then you gotta wash the dishes. And it's just too much. But a woman can knock it out just like that, right? Am I right about this? Yeah, right there.
I don't want to say anything.
No, just be honest.
Because I don't like to cook.
You
I
got a
don't mind
husband?
cleaning up. I don't mind being there to co-labor in the cooking.
Co-labor.
But I feel that women now are geared to be more independent, to be on their own, to do what they want when they want, and not be there to fulfill the needs of a man.
Amazing. Have you ever been married?
Yes.
And then what happened?
I'm still married.
You still married to your husband? You only one time? And so you don't cook for your husband? I can't hear you.
No,
You
he
don't
cooks for me.
clean? Huh?
He cooks for me.
Oh, switch roles. Oh my God. And does he clean too?
We both do.
And does he go out and work?
Yes.
You have children?
Yes.
Oh, are you teaching your children the same thing?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. I feel for your husband. And I feel for you because men that do that are weak. And a woman hate weak men. They really do. Even though she can convince him to cook and clean and iron and sew and do all that, and he'll start doing it, she'll resent him for it. Because it becomes like living with another woman rather than being with a man. And so you'll find yourself out there looking for a real man. Because in the nature of women, they yearn for a real man. And in the nature of men, they yearn for the Father. Christ is over him. And so I'm sorry to hear that. And these women who are being raised this way and growing up, they are so lonely. You know, when they're alone, they yearn for a man, they want a husband. And then when they get a certain age, they want children and it's too late or whatever, right? But they are not happy women like that. They're not happy. Absolutely not happy. Yes, sir.
I just want to say, some women might not like cleaning or might not like cooking, but a lot of men probably don't like the jobs that they go out there and slave to bring home money, to bring home food, to take care of the family. And men generally don't complain about these jobs. 99% of trash men there's no female trash men. How come there's no complaints from feminists that there's no female sanitation workers? And it's not about just cooking and cleaning. It's the valuable role of a woman as a wife and a caretaker. Yeah. It's not just cooking and cleaning. Right. A woman should be in the stove. No, it's being a wife. It's the woman's role. Like, don't disrespect and belittle your role as a woman. It's valuable just like a man's is.
Yeah, that is so true.
Yeah.
You know what it is? The reason that as what Brenda said, a lot of women are feeling this way is because their parents have failed them. Their father, their mothers have not taught them the proper way of being a woman. Growing up as a young girl, growing into teenage, growing up as a woman, and they have allowed the world to come in and deceive the children. But I guarantee you, if they grew up with decent parents who taught them that, and it wasn't a big deal, their father and mother not fighting over the roles, it would be nothing for them to do it, because that's their natural nature. And they wouldn't see it as a put down or that the man role is better than their. That's the devil's mind. The deceivers out there are convincing these people of this, and that's why these children today are suffering, because they've allowed the world to influence them. The influence should come from the father and the mother, so when they go out into the world can't, which is of the devil, by the way, can't mess up their lives. That's what the problem is. It all starts in the home. If the father and mother don't do it, the world will. And it's unfortunate, because there are some decent men and women out there. They've been brainwashed, and they're suffering for this because their parents let them down. And that's what the problem is. You know what I see a whole bunch of hands, but I got to end it for an online, and then we'll take a few more questions. I wanted to just put this out there, and we'll talk about it, I guess, next time. James Comey leaked information. Did y'all hear about that? The head of the FBI leaking information. We'll get into all that. That's mind-blowing to me, putting all our lives at risk because of his anger. If you want to know what anger looks like, look at the government. It's a big example of what, and look how destructive and crazy they are. I mean, they'll put all our lives at risk just to get their ego needs fulfilled. And then if you got anger, that's what's happening in your life too. But that's the bigger picture. And the reason I bring this up, because I want you to let go of your anger. Anger is the spirit of your father, the devil. It really is. There's no love, no light, no nothing in it. And the other thing that I just want to throw out there, Bill Maher, that's his name? Everybody know who he is? Yeah. He got in trouble for saying, you know about this? Yeah. He said something like, I'm a house N-word. And then now he's licking boots of the black liberals. And I'm going to talk about that next time on the radio. You can tune into the radio show. He is licking boots. They got this white man licking black boots over words that are not even important at all. It has no meaning. It doesn't mean a thing, because if it did, the blacks would stop saying it and it would fade away. But anyway, I get into, don't trip out over the N-word. And I've been called coon, Uncle Tom, coon, King Coon, coon, other coons. As a matter of fact, I got an email from someone asking could they nominate me for the King Coon Award this year. I'm like, yes. Isn't that right, James? Huh? Yes. Yeah, so I may be up for King of the Award. And black call me the N-word every day, and they mean it to hurt me. So if that's a negative word, why don't they cut it out? All right? Except words don't bother me at all. They roll off my back. What else? Okay. The last thing, we'll have it for the people online too, we'll have it our men's conference this coming Saturday, the 17th. Ages 13 and up. And all men are invited. And if you're some young guys who cannot afford it, we have people who are sponsored, several people have sponsored you, so let us know if you really can't afford it. You can get in anyway because someone else has paid for you. All right, so all men are invited, 13 and up, this Saturday at 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go online at rebuildingtheman.com/event. We're going to have a hoot nanny of a time. We really are. I looked at some of the guests that's going to be here. It was amazing. So it's going to be nice. All right, this Saturday. And we need your donations. We need your donations through your tithe and offering. We need your financial support. Every dime we get goes back into the organization. You could call 800-411-BOND, 800-411-2663 to make a donation, or go online and do it, all right? And thank you for tuning in, and thank all of you. Thank you for the comments and the feedback today. That was great. All right, thank you.